Hey, baby girl. Welcome to our Therapy Thursdays. My name is Wanda. If you don't know me, we run things over here, okay? Black Women Travel. We have a weekly podcast. We have an annual conference. We have a dope group, Black women, digital nomad entrepreneurs, and we have a mastermind, the Black Women Travel Mastermind, that's going on right now. We're about 3 weeks in, I think, to the mastermind, maybe four, three. And it's going amazing. Thank you for asking. It's just where myself and 9 other really dope ladies talk about what it means to build a business, an online stream of income, what it means to be a traveler, and how all of us have different travel styles. And we also talk about wellness and what it means to center our wellness. So those are the 3 things that are the poster banner. What are they? The posts through everything that we do. Um, Today is really special because we have some licensed professionals in our community. So I would love to bring up to the stage Miss Roxanne Johnson. Miss Roxanne is a part
Good
of our
afternoon.
super dope community. Yes, tell them about yourself. Tell them what you practice, what you preach. Like give us the tea about you, please.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Wanda. Um, as she said, my name is Roxanne Johnson. I'm a licensed clinical counselor here in the state of Maryland. However, I also do coaching, which allows me to go a little bit broader. I have clients right now. I have clients in the UK, in Pakistan. Trying to think, is it those are the two foreign countries right now, as and also in the United States. Um, I I've been practicing since 2005, and I believe that the core of wellness has to do with self care, and self care is not selfish. Some of us have been taught that not taking care or taking care of other people, holding it down for everybody but ourselves is, you know, is the way to do things, but absolutely not. If you ever fly on a plane, they tell you what, put the mask on your face first before you help someone else. And it is important. It is imperative that we Black women doing the same thing. Taking care of ourselves, making that priority, making that time to take care of ourselves properly, so that we can live a life that is full, that is whole, that is full of happiness, whatever that means for you. So that's what I'm about. I'm about to be international soon, so I look forward to relocating. I'm going to be relocating to Jamaica, but I'm still going to be doing my therapy thing online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess my specialty is I'm a trauma informed therapist, so I do a lot of trauma informed therapy. I'm also a racial trauma informed therapist, which is helping people who have been racially traumatized. We all have. Anybody that's a person of color has been, and we continue to be, because we continue to be in spaces where people are microaggressions, macroaggressions, you know. So I also work with people and helping them through those things.
Talk to us about the very first thing that you said is was about self-care. Talk to us about how we can practice self-care as travelers and as folks who are building online streams of income, please.
Mhm, mhm. I think with traveling, and especially with doing online business, I've had a couple of clients who, get into this thing where they feel like they got to do content, constantly thinking about what's the next thing I got to put out, what's the next thing, and to the point where they get their anxiety levels become um, heightened, and they are unfocused, and all of the things that go along with anxiety. So it is important that, I'm not begrudging anybody their hustle, right? Get your hustle on, get your coins, all of that good stuff. But
Get
if
your coins.
it doesn't do any good to do all of that, if you're not in a good headspace to enjoy all of that. So having balance is important, right? So having some balance, if um, a day, or if you can take 20 minutes in the morning to do some kind of meditation or something to kind of get you to start to kind of put your day in how you want your day to go, can be very helpful. But constantly grinding is not good for you
Mm.
mentally, emotionally, or physically. It's just not. And it will show itself. We think that we can do this, but eventually, and it always does, it'll show up, it's not good for you. So yeah, it's important that you do some
What
self-care.
What are some tips that you have for putting it down? So if people find themselves pressuring themselves um, to create, to produce, sometimes that transition from that addictive paycheck every 2 weeks to, depending on your skills, to provide for you. And
Mhm,
so like that internalized pressure, but like the call is coming from inside the house, right? So like what kind of self-care can you advocate for the ladies who want to put it down and are having trouble switching, you know, creating anxiety around creating that income for themselves, possibly for the first time?
mhm, mhm. I think it's both, and not I don't not putting it in a, I think it's a spiritual thing as well. Not saying that you
Mhm.
have to be religious, but spiritual, to understand that, number one, that your needs will be provided for, right? And believing that and having a mindset that says that. That's number one, your spiritual mindset. Number two, I think, uh, you know, having some time limits, like I said, doing 12, 14-hour days constantly is not going to be helpful for you. So I encourage clients to do things like put your notification on, because that bing, that sound that the phone makes is actually a psychologically produced sound. They make that sound because what, it's a conditioned response. And so even when you hear that bing, you start to think, oh my gosh, somebody's looking for me. I got to do this. I got to do that. So putting your phones on silence, going off grid, even if it's for an hour, even if it's for 20 minutes, whatever you can reasonably do. And then make it, maybe working your way up to, hey, you know what? This is my day. I don't do nothing on this day, but take care of me. So those are some pointers that I typically give out.
Okay. So put your
Yeah.
phone on silent.
Hmm.
Make sure you
Absolutely.
take actual time off.
Actual
Those are
time, real time.
actually like for real time.
Mhm.
Not fake time,
Mhm.
like for real time. That's dope.
Mhm. Mhm.
What else did you talk about? You were talking to us about, let's talk about hustle a little bit because you mentioned that. And I think that hustle can be just as addictive as anything else, you know?
Mhm.
Uh, Sometimes it is driven from fear. Sometimes you just got energy. Sometimes you just got work in you and you
Mhm.
want to get that out, right? But for some
Mhm.
people, sometimes it's fear based. How
Right.
can one determine whether or not like this idea of hustle is healthy for them or not?
That's a good question. That's a good question, because a lot of people do say that they have high energy and therefore they need to be doing something, right? But does the something that you're doing always have to be something that's connected to your business or your career? Can it be something that actually creates some ease for you, some relaxation of some peace for you, actually? Because when you're going all the time, and you got that anxiety levels up there in the 8, 9, 10 zone, you are not. It's the absence of peace that starts to get into you. Physically, you start to have physical symptoms, all of the and the emotional symptoms. So yeah, the absence of, I think the absence of that, right, and learning that you can be energetic and go use that energy to go ride a bike, go on a hike, go for a swim. Use that energy to do something that will create ease in your body, that will create some ease in your mind, which is very it's important. It's important. Yeah.
Talk about that. That is,
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
all
And
of
I
that.
think what you were saying about fear, because anxiety is really about fear. The base of it has to do with fear, fear of. And so fear of what? If I'm hustling 15, 20 hours a day, what is it that I fear that I won't have enough of, that that I'll have lacking? And this whole idea of fear or scarcity, right? Lacking things. And a lot of some of us grew up in that environment where we did experience a lack of things, but now you're in a different environment. So putting on a different mindset, I am not lacking. You can come up with your own mantras and your own meditations to say,
Mhm.
I'm living in abundance. I'm no longer living in a place of scarcity. So therefore, I don't have to be running around like a, chicken with his head cut off, thinking that I don't have enough. I have more than enough to do what I need to do. And so it's a mindset. It begins up in your mind. Hmm. Absolutely.
So it's like making sure that you're keeping those messages present.
Yes.
You're telling yourself and reminding yourself about the like soothing and the reassuring things that you need to hear so that you're taking action from a different place.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, Miss
Because
Roxanne with the gems.
we control, our mind is a very powerful tool, and we
Mhm.
control what we want to control through our mind, right? When we
Mhm.
talk about managing our emotions means that we start to focus on, okay, how am I feeling, what's going on right now? And once we're in touch with that, we have an awareness of that, then we can manage how we respond as opposed to react to things. Yeah, absolutely.
Word up.
Hmm.
So, Miss Roxanne, if you missed the beginning, she said that she is licensed in the state of Maryland. If you are looking for a therapist, holler at her if you live in that state. If you're not in that state, holler at her about her coaching. She's also a coach.
Yeah.
So she can help to address some of these things that you're wanting to, in terms of reaching your goals, your wellness goals, no
Hmm.
matter if you've started a business or not. I mean, it might be the reason why you haven't, started your online stream of income or what have you. So definitely reach out. You could, it's in her handle at the bottom of the screen, IG at ROX0406. Holler
Hmm.
at this lady. Miss Kelly on YouTube, she said, it's hard to forget what's at home and work when you're on that break. I try to relax, but I know in the back of my mind, I have to go back to doing things I don't want to do.
So here's the thing with um with, again, with anxiety, right? Because what she's talking about is, I'm thinking about all the things that are pressing, that still have to address. um Stay present. So you're taking a break, you're sitting out in the park, you're looking at the flowers, you're watching. Did you know that birds make noise all day long? You know the reason that we can't hear them? Because we too busy doing what we doing. But if you sit and you get present, that means not thinking about all of that stuff that you got to handle. It's still going to be there when you get there. Stay present. Stay in the present moment. Give yourself that break mentally, emotionally, so that you'll be refreshed to deal with all of that stuff that's still waiting for you. But what we do is we get the anxiety ball starts to roll. We're like little gerbils on this little wheel. When we get still for a moment, and then we start thinking about all the, I call it, so with anxiety, there's the catastrophizing thoughts, there's the overthinking thoughts, there's the focusing on or foretelling about something that hasn't happened yet. And the interesting thing about that is that most people who do the foretelling thoughts, they're always negative. It's always some negative. And then this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and this is never going to work out. all of these negative foretelling thoughts. It's negative meditation, is really what it is. Stay present, stay right here, stay in the moment. Yeah.
So you said find some birds and listen to them and make sure you
Listen
keep
to them,
hearing
or
that
just
song,
sit and
huh?
watch. Yeah, or sit and just watch the trees and watch the flowers.
Mm.
They got fed today. They wasn't scurrying around, but they got what they needed. And you too can be. You gonna be all right.
You better bring the scripture up in here.
You gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. But we have to believe that. We have to start staying present with ourselves instead of rushing ahead 2, 3 weeks down the road, thinking of all the negative things. It's not good for you.
So in our community, we talk a bit about cultivating a healthy mindset before you leave. And it's like everything is a practice, right? So many of us before we jump off, our minds are still tied up because we haven't physically moved. So like
Mhm.
our minds haven't been able to make that shift sometimes. So you don't know what it is to think differently because you have your same routine, you have your same
Mhm.
neighborhood, you have your same furniture and stuff that you may be trying to get rid of before you go. Um,
Mhm.
would you say that that is important before they leave? I feel like once they get to this new destination, um, the world can open up in some very triggering ways because maybe you have time and space to now deal with some things that you never made time and space to deal with before because you were just trying to survive where you were.
Right.
Um, that's my idea about it. But what do you think about it?
So this is the thing, Wanda. Wherever we go, there we are.
Okay. 20
Okay.
24/7.
And wherever we go, there we are. So for me, I already know that I'm going to be relocating in January 2023. Right. So I did mention that the mind was a powerful tool. It very much is. You have to start seeing things before you actually see them. Imagery is powerful. See yourself in a place of peace. See yourself in your sanctuary, wherever it is. See yourself in a place where uh, you no longer live in anxiety on a hamster wheel, that turbo wheel going. Blah, blah, blah. So, because if you don't see yourself start seeing it now, when you actually relocate, you're gonna take all that garbage. Remember that song "Bag Lady"? You're gonna take all your baggage and bring it to this new place and have the same. And then you wonder why. Well, there's nothing changed. Yeah, because it begins over here. It begins up here. And so the other thing I will say, that if you do when you do relocate, when you start to have more moments where you're aware mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually about yourself, then that's a time that maybe you want to tap into a coach or a therapist to start to help you with some of those things that you have probably packed away or pushed away from you to be able to survive in the culture that we're living in. It's called survival, right? But yeah, if you start to have those triggers, you start to feeling different emotions that you haven't felt before, that might be a good time to reach out to someone who can help you to process and help you to start to do some healing. You know, it's kind of hard to heal when you're in the midst of being, cut every day. So it's kind of
But
hard.
that's what they say. It's hard to heal in the
Mhm.
environment that created the wound.
Yeah, it's hard. You just try not to get wounded, or you just trying to be a what they call walking wounded, right? You just trying to survive.
Not feel it anymore, not feel the wound anymore.
Hmm.
It's numbing, right?
Yeah, but yeah, allowing yourself just to be, right?
That
So,
is very interesting.
hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I think about it in terms of maybe like getting that, building that team before you go. So whether it's a coach or a therapist, um, because like most people don't listen well enough, like for your friends to actually do anything helpful. It's like they just don't have it, right? They don't have the range.
Right.
So, but like a professional who's trained to do such could
Mhm.
help you in that regard, I think, before you leave, so that you can start to feel and start to see. I like what you said about seeing. One of my favorite exercises is, what will it look and feel like when you get there? So it's like, oh, I want to create this lifestyle where I feel free. Like, that's a word that comes up, right? What does it
Mhm.
look and feel like to be free? Well, I wake up when I want to. Well, I do stuff I'm actually interested in doing. I
Mhm.
hire the support that I need otherwise. Like, yeah, just being more specific about that look and feel, so
Mhm.
that when you get there, you know that you've arrived in a way. Although,
Mhm.
like, our wants and needs are a moving target. We're always gonna want something else. We're just human. But at least you like get to that step, right?
Mhm.
To where you're proud. You're like, I left, and like this was what I thought I could have, but I realized I could have so much more. So like, this is cute, but like, let's keep going with this. How what all can I
Yes.
get about this thing?
What else? What else is waiting for me? Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Mhm.
Miss Paula in the house today, she said, I am good when it is vacation time until
Mm,
about 3 days before returning to the US.
mm.
That's a
I
whole
feel you
word.
on that. I feel you on that. I feel like when I go, I just came back from Montego Bay. My daughter took me for Mother's Day. It was beautiful, right?
Aw.
I felt like, yeah, I felt like when we got off the plane in Jamaica, I left my American made anxiety on the plane. I just felt this release, right? This release. And then when it was time to come back, I could feel it slowly trying to attach itself to me. But this is the thing. When you start to feel the anxiety, that's the time you can start to do some exercises, right? Not after the anxiety has showed up and it's all, and you can't focus enough to do some breathing exercises, some imagery, doing some deep breathing. I'm telling you, doing some deep breathing is real. It gets you there. And there are other exercises that you can do, to kind of keep that anxiety lower. And then practicing, like you said, practicing this idea of peace, this idea of joy, this idea of everything is going to be well, and not allowing that anxiety to creep up, doing something every day to keep that anxiety level down. Yeah.
That's
Every day.
deep because it seems like so many in our community, it is different still for
Mm-hmm.
us
Mm-hmm.
in some ways. I think we have kind of been out here, but maybe we've gone the more survival route. Like, let me go teach abroad, or let me go work at this company abroad, versus like, let me create money from my imagination, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of ladies, I think it's scary to even touch that, because like a lot of us have been demoralized. A lot of us have worked in these nasty workplace. I mean, we've all been subjected to system or racism, whether or not we call it that or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether at school or at work or at the hospital, or like, it don't matter, at the bank, wherever we go, it's going to touch us
Mm-hmm.
in some way, shape, or form. And so we start to see ourselves differently, um, than what's reality. That's just how they see us, but that doesn't make it us. But it can be
Mm-hmm.
difficult to separate that, especially living, like we talked about, within the same system.
Right.
So, what, how, ooh, all of it. What and how, child?
Mm-hmm.
um, what is, how does one begin to trust themselves? I
Mm-hmm.
think that some of the ladies are just so afraid of failure, uh,
Mm-hmm.
afraid that they're not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
afraid that they don't have the resources, the access, the anything to
Mm-hmm.
make this lifestyle a reality on their own. What would you say to them for that?
Mm, 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 mm. That just touched. That just touched. That just touched something for me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite sheroes. as it relates to this whole expat getting out, stopping working like a like I'm working journey has been Harriet Tubman. And I like something that she said. She said, I was determined either I was going to live free or I was going to die. And we ain't dying. We about the practice of living free. And whatever that looks like for you, you imagine it. Imagine it real big. Imagine, don't think like a teaspoonful. Imagine it real big. And then you get you some support. We know how to get our support circles together. We know that we're stronger in community than we are. See, we have allowed the other culture to try to determine how we live our lives. But for us, and I'm meaning that with my whole chest,
Come on.
we do better in community. And so find a community of some sisters to support, that you all can support one another in this journey, because it is scary. But understanding a place where you don't feel free is not your home. It's not. And so get it when you the fact that you're thinking about wanting to, desiring to do something different, that means that your spirit is already connected with the same spirit that Harriet had. And it's scary, but it's worthy. And you're worthy. You're worthy of being whoever you want to be, wherever you want to be. Don't believe the lies that you've been told. You ain't this enough, you ain't that enough. One of my favorite movies is Color. You remember when Silly got her stuff together? Y'all remember that part? And
Are
she
we talking
said,
about the pants, the unisex pants?
when she told Mister at the Easter dinner table, he said, you black, you ugly, you this. She said, I know I might be all those things, but I'm here. And we here, y'all. Be the best you can be. That's what you're feeling inside. That's what's going on inside of you. You ready to break free. Don't do it scared.
You were saying that we know how to build community. I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm gonna challenge you a little bit on that because Black women, and it sometimes starts at home. It starts with our mamas.
Hmm. Let me put. I
It
put.
starts. It starts with the women who we thought were our friends until maybe we started doing better than them. Like I think it has been difficult for Black women to trust other Black women. I think we have held
I
each
agree
other
with
at
you.
a little bit of a distance, you know?
I agree with you. I agree with you somewhat. Okay, I can get with that. But we got to get with some healthy people, and that's what. And I talk about this a lot in my therapy. Boundaries in relationships. That's important to have healthy boundaries with people. And so there's some healthy people out here that's healthy enough to be in connection and community with.
Mm.
We have to just find them and be in healthy relationships. That's what's important. And when you're
Okay.
not in a healthy relationship with somebody who wants to be in relationship with you, hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. Hold them
Okay.
hold them accountable. Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. You know, girls compete with each other. Women encourage each other.
All right. All right. Miss, let me fix your crown in private. I got you. I got you.
It's a difference.
It is. I'm
Mhm.
wondering, yes. Miss Brianna, she said, let me make sure. Yes. Miss Brianna said, currently struggling with creating my support group.
Mhm.
Because like let's also be real. Like, yes, we all have to eat, but some people haven't made the funds. Some of these communities you do have to pay for. I think like you're not going to be able to get everything for free, and especially as Black women creating for Black women, um, sometimes I think it costs more. It costs us more to create these kinds of spaces. Um, because we're coming out of the same stuff that everybody came out of. We also don't have the same bandwidth. I think white people got bandwidth, right? Sometimes they have more access, sometimes they have more resources, and so they could just do all types of stuff for free, right? And so that same, like, the funnels that they use don't always necessarily work for Black women, because I just think we're tired. I think we're just tired.
Right,
Um,
right. So,
so yeah.
so talk to me a little bit more about this whole idea of just that we have to do more things, or we can't, like like we have to have a pay kind of a situation. Because to me, community don't really cost. Supporting one another don't really have a cost attached to it. Caring for one another doesn't really have a cost attached to it.
Yes, it does.
Really,
Caring for people absolutely costs something,
it doesn't cost you
because
in a sense of monetary, or it might cost you it might cost you some emotional.
that
Uh,
is yeah,
but
that's still
look, but we're all trying to achieve the same thing. So if I'm helping you
no,
and you're
we're not.
helping me,
I
no,
mean,
we're
if
not.
you're in if you're in the right community, perhaps.
Okay,
But
okay.
usually what happens is, from what I've noticed,
Mm,
you know how with groups, there's the person that plans the trip and the people that just go on the trip. I haven't met a whole lot of planners, right?
mm,
So
mm,
if you have like just a few planners and more masses who just want to join the trip, that's not community necessarily. That's just leadership. That's just someone leading.
yeah.
And you have people who are occasionally participating in various ways. So I think that costs something, and it's in more than one way. Like, everything isn't free, particularly time. Like, it does take time to
Mm,
organize and such. And so I think that's why people have put a value on their time in these types of spaces.
okay.
And so if there are people who are looking for free things, they may not always have access to that, because sometimes people don't contribute. They show up to receive, they don't show up to give. And I think that community is very much like a give and take. I put out a newsletter twice a month now.
Mm,
And that was the last newsletter. That's exactly what it was talking about, the give and take of community, and how there has to be a contribution. Also,
mm,
understanding that, you know, considering the conditions, particularly these days, it seems like everybody's bandwidth is very low. But I think
mm,
that, specifically speaking, like, our community, the Black women travel community, is a community that feeds, is a community that buoys you, it's a community that can help you get through this stuff. So
mm.
what you put in, you're absolutely getting out. But if you just take from the kid, then, like,
Well,
everybody left
that ain't
dry.
what community is. See, we maybe
Okay,
we
talk
need
about it.
so we
Yeah, talk
maybe
about it.
maybe we need to redefine what community is.
Yes, let's. What's
Because
community to you?
my
What?
definition is everyone, right, is a contributor. Everyone is has the same types. Maybe we're not all going to the same destination, but we're all committed to one another meeting their goals, right? So I'm committed to you, helping you to get your goals met. You're committed to me, helping me get my goals met. We're committed to the other sisters who are a part of our group. And so we're engaged in that way, and not in a way where we're, because see that the format, the structure you just gave was more of a white patriarchal, follow the leader, do what I say. And so we have what our one of our goals is, as we're getting free, right,
Mhm.
is to change our thought processes, that no, we not a bunch of sheep and what with somebody, and that no, we all have not only capacity, but we all have the tools to be leaders in some kind of way.
Absolutely.
I might
But
need
are people using that leadership tool? That is the question. What
no,
you talked about is like a community utopia, right? That would be dope if everybody showed up and everyone contributed. What community are you a part of where that's actually happening? You
I
specifically. if
Yes, me
you feel comfortable
specifically.
sharing. Yeah.
Absolutely. I've been facilitating a group for 8 years now.
Hmm.
This our 8 year. We get on a Saturday morning call, 7:30 in the morning. We pray together every Saturday morning for the last 8 years. Everyone in that group, everyone contributes something. Whether they bring something, a devotion, whether they bring a prayer, but everyone, and see, when everyone contributes and everyone is engaged, everyone's committed, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
can I take it to the neighborhood for a minute? How I grew up, in the village I grew up in, right? Everybody in our neighborhood was committed to making sure everybody else was safe. If everybody else was, if I had something to eat, you had something to eat,
Hmm.
right? And so there's a different structure in that kind of community as opposed to, a community that's is based on what can you do for me. That's not community. That's something
Hmm.
like a capitalist. I don't know what's going on, right? But when you, yeah, it's different. And so there's people who want to be in that kind of community. And so, yeah. And when we are healthy in dealing with each other, what we do, hold each other accountable.
So Paula, Miss Think in Living Boldly, Miss Paula, she said how to hold them accountable.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. So,
I think I think it's
yeah,
good too if when you are setting up the community, if you have permission. So like people are signing up to be
they
held
know what
accountable and to hold others accountable.
that's right. They know what they signing up for. And see, okay, I talk about it in therapy with clients. I talk all the time about healthy boundaries in our relationships with one another, in our personal interpersonal relationships. So you're in a relationship with somebody and they told you that they're gonna I'll be at your house at 8:30 to, bring over the wine for the wine and Netflix, right?
Yeah.
9 o'clock comes, 9:30 comes, no, nobody, crickets, right?
Right.
Holding somebody accountable. You either text them, or maybe you text them first because that's the way y'all communicate. Hey, what's going on? Where you at? I thought you were going to be here at 8:30. Oh yeah, something came up. I'll be there in give me 15 minutes. That's holding somebody accountable. If they get there in 15 minutes, you hold them accountable. In extreme cases, people would do these kinds of behaviors over and over and over, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't hold them accountable, right? Until they do it like the fourth, fifth, maybe even the sixth time, because some of us we have a capacity for harm that's kind of high. We have a tolerance level that's kind of high when we will take abuse for 6, 7 times. But at the
Okay.
sixth time, your lid is about to pop off because now you feel what? Abused. Whereas if you
Um,
hold somebody accountable for the first time, right? At the beginning of that whole scenario I just drew out, you can
mhm.
have a discussion. Well, this is what you said you were going to do. Did something change? And you can have a discussion as opposed to, "Ah, you do this every time. Yeah, there's a different discussion. And, and,
Mm.
and, we're here to hold each other. And actually, you know what? Holding another person accountable shows that you care. It's not to denigrate anybody. It's not to make someone else feel bad, but it's to say, you know what? I care about the relationship that we have, and therefore I want to hold you accountable. But I want you to hold me accountable too. Hope that
So
helps.
it is as early as possible
Yeah,
if you before you see a pattern start or when you first notice a
that's
pattern.
the first time that they said they were gonna be there at 8:30, don't get there to 9:30 or 10:30
Hmm.
or never
Be like,
30.
hey, like I
Hey,
care about this relationship and you said you was going to be here and I do understand that things come up,
what
but you
happened?
weren't here. What happened?
What
Okay, well
happened?
next time if that happens, like it would be
There you
dope
go.
if you would just
Can you
This is
just
how I
let
like
me
to be cared
know?
for. It would be dope if you would just message me and let me know.
Yeah, we have to ask for what we need from other people as well. Absolutely.
So Paula said, calling people on things.
Yeah. I but see, I don't think of it as because a lot of
Calling.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think of it as like because a lot of people are like I don't like to be confrontational.
Gotcha.
I like to call it carefrontation. Cause see, if I didn't care about you, and I didn't care about our relationship, I didn't care about what we're building as community, then I would probably I just know how to we my block game is it's bad, right?
Oh, is it
Right? I could just block you and act like
how
you
you
never
work?
exist, right? Right? Act like, but see, that doesn't resolve the issue. The real issue is that we need to hold each other accountable. That's how we build relationship. That's how we build community.
I think that it is maybe not a regular conversation that Black women are accustomed to having. Sometimes we have an idea of what community looks like. We have an idea of what a relationship looks like without involving the other person in that conversation. And so when things happen, we may not have primed the other person to be able to tell them about, oh, like, well, this is what friendship means to me. Friendship means that, if you say you're going to do something, then you do it. Um, and if you're not able to do it, then you communicate that.
And let's
Versus
go.
somebody who's not used to being in a relationship like that, who like just doesn't show up and doesn't communicate, and we'll just see you the next time, and it's all high fives
And
and
act like
hugs or
nothing
whatever.
happened.
Right. So maybe it starts with us, like being clear with ourselves about what it is that we want, and being able to communicate that with another person, which may be a little awkward, but I think that in the long run, it is what you were talking about, which is care. It is showing care, it's showing intention, and trying to make sure that the relationship is healthy and stays healthy, right? Because then you
Absolutely.
both are in on the gag, instead of like you just being huffy about how someone is treating you and you not voicing it.
And then we act funny. We say we act like nothing happened. Nah, we be acting funny, giving each other the side eye. What's wrong with you? You okay? Because
Uh-huh.
it's not, you don't want to talk about
Now
the
she know exactly what she did. It's just like,
yeah, nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room, and the elephant is taking all the room up in the room. It's smelling up the room. There's no room to maneuver, but we gonna act like we okay. Miss me with that, okay? Stop it.
but
Stop it.
like but like I said, I just think we're not used to having these conversations. But these are conversations we can absolutely have, because it just like puts it out. And then you give yourself less stress in your life by expecting people to read your mind, because that's essentially what it is. I think we forget how different people are from us. Like, Black people around the world, we do a lot of stuff the same, but people are
Mhm.
very, very different, and they have different ideas about stuff. I think it also honors us. So, like, you are honoring yourself by speaking up for the things that you want in your life. And whether another person is down or not, like, that's irrelevant. But
Yeah,
you showed up for you in that kind of way, so that you're protecting your energy.
absolutely. That's absolutely right. And you're empowering yourself, right? You're empowering yourself by saying this is what is acceptable for me, and this is what's not acceptable for me. And it's okay. If yours is different than mine, it's oh, you know what? It's okay. But this is what mine is. Hmm.
So what other tips can you give us, in terms of centering your wellness, either as a traveler, maybe a first time traveler, maybe you're moving abroad for the first time, or for someone who is wading in the waters of like figuring out what what stream of income they want to create and like what it takes to believe in yourself to do that. Did you have any other ideas for either or both?
Mhm. I think the main thing is believing in yourself, you know, and believing in yourself and working through whatever it is you need to work through. You know, some of us have experienced a lot of trauma that is an obstacle to believing in yourself. But you know what I tell people who have experienced trauma? One thing about people who have been through trauma, very resilient people. That's a skill that a lot of people don't have. You know, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Show up for yourself. Love on yourself. And do those things, whatever it is that's going to make you feel free, make you get free. So you have a dream to start your own business, do it. Do it. Everything we have, everything that we do begins with a thought. You know, somebody thought about this whole idea, this whole stream yard before it was actually came to fruition, right? Do it. Do it.
Brianna said, "Oh, I needed that."
Hmm. Hmm.
Believe in yourself. What does it look like when you believe in yourself? How does it feel when you believe in yourself? What actions do you take when you believe in yourself?
When you believe in yourself, you center yourself, your self care. You don't allow, some of us, especially women, especially black women, again, we've been, we hold it down for everybody else to the point where people try to make you feel guilty for not rescuing them. You know what? If we put the energy that we use to rescue, Peanut and them into ourselves, we have a multi-million dollar business going on. Think about that for a minute.
Again, not the.
A minute.
I love
We
that.
spend a whole lot of energy on everything and everybody, trying to get people to love us that don't love. They ain't look. They ain't gonna love you. Love yourself. They're not gonna do it. Take that energy and place it somewhere that's gonna make it's gonna be productive for you. Hmm. Yeah,
Believe in yourself. Center yourself.
yeah.
What does it mean to show up for yourself?
Show up for yourself. Show up for
Mm.
yourself means, hey, you know what? This is who I am. This is what y'all get. You ain't gotta be, do all these shape shifting maneuver. Be who you are. Who you are is more than good enough. It is. If nobody ever told you, I'm telling you, it is. It's
Now
more
it's
than
up to you to believe it. You out there listening.
you have to
She
take.
said it.
You got to walk in it. You have to walk. Why do you think people get scared when there's more than two or three of us in a bunch? Because it's power. We the only ones that don't recognize how powerful we are. Because it's power. It's power.
What are some other good what is the word? How can one build on that to continue to cultivate a healthy mindset,
Mhm.
just like as a human, but
Yeah.
with the frame of it being a black woman? How can, like, some things that you've seen in practice over the years, or with your community, what do you think that black women need to cultivate that healthy mindset?
Mhm. I think reading, listening, getting in tune with positive things, positive, affirmations, positive, there's like so many content creators nowadays, black women who are creating positive content, not none of that junk food stuff. Positive, you know, whatever you feed yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that's what you become. So starting to feed yourself more positive things, get in touch with whatever your spiritual practice is, doing it in finding the positive aspects of it and practicing those things, and having a positive group of people that you hang out with, that you call your girls, whatever, your crew, whatever, right? And if they're not positive, get another group. There's like 9 billion of us on this planet. Everybody can't go where you go. Everybody can. Everybody can't grow like you grow either.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Go and grow. Everybody can't.
Everybody can. And you want to
But
with other people who are, are the kind of people who aren't, like you were saying earlier, people, they and women can be catty and all of this stuff. Those not women, they girls. You need to look up with some women who are mature enough to say, I know if she growing, I'm growing, we growing together, we're moving together. Yeah.
we have a question from Miss Annabella. She said she's soon to travel with her daughter. They've both been through much trauma and they're resilient. People care more for those who give less, and she had to pull back or always be used.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So she's
Absolutely.
talking about having boundaries so that
Mm-hmm.
people aren't taking advantage of her. That's what it sounds like from what she
Right.
shared. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Annabella.
Yeah, and a lot of us have come from, places of dysfunctionality where we never learned about what it looks like to have healthy boundaries. Yeah.
How do you, is it about feeling, would you say? Like how do you feel? Are you feeling stressful in one area or um, overextended in an area, then maybe that's where you need to have some better boundaries. And like, how do you start to build those boundaries then?
Mm. So this is what I share with my clients, right? The more you have an awareness of you, of yourself, all the different ways, emotional, mentally, physically, you start to have awareness of yourself. Then you start to have awareness of what is when people bring you their energy, that energy, right? How it's impacting you. And you're like, this is something I don't feel, this doesn't feel right for me. And trust your gut. If it don't feel right, it doesn't feel right, right? And so it's okay if you know to say no. That's a whole sentence, by the way. hmm and it's okay to tell somebody, yeah, I would like to help you, but I'm not going to be able to. It's okay to do those things. It's absolutely okay. And so sometimes we feel like we need permission, right, to put ourselves first. Yeah. But the more you have awareness, the more you become aware of how these things are impacting you, the more you will start to, okay. And I encourage my clients, because it's so impulsive, the way that we react to people, right? That we need to take a moment to really figure out how we want to respond. How I want to respond to this request. Can I get back to you? Sometimes you need to leave people in a bubble
Mm,
for a minute, right?
mm.
And decide how you want to respond, and then you respond. Mm-hmm.
So not having to, giving yourself the space to
Yeah.
feel your feelings, to see if it's something that you are capable of or not.
Yeah, are you willing to do? Is this
Mm,
something you're capable of doing? Something you're willing to do? Yeah,
mm, mm.
yeah, absolutely.
And knowing yourself. So boundaries is about knowing yourself. And
And having awareness of yourself. Most of the clients that already come to me, they tell me they already know they do too much for too many people. Everybody comes to them. They they have the role of rescuer in their family.
mm-hmm,
No, they're always rescuing somebody.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, they already know that they've been assigned those roles. They already know how it's been making them feel over time, over time. Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
the practice.
yeah, yeah. So starting to sort of prioritize you. How is this gonna? Is this something I'm really willing to do, or if I'm saying yes when I really want to say no?
Mm.
hmm Yeah.
practicing that self awareness, starting to take a step back from
Mhm.
the things that you were doing before, the roles that you were participating in before, and
Mhm.
deciding how you want to participate and just working through your feelings around that.
Well, your feelings
Because
about.
I think that some of those things can be addictive. Like it, maybe at one point, and that's maybe why we did it. It felt good to be so helpful.
We
It
wanted to
felt
be
good to
accepted.
do
Hmm.
good.
Or either we wanted to be accepted or it's expected of us. This is what's expected
Um,
of us, right?
so you're saying it's tied to acceptance.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Acceptance or expectation. So if it, family dynamics, right? This is
Hmm.
what's expected of me, right? Well, okay, I, let them know that there's gonna be some different expectations,
Hmm.
right? I'm no longer
Oh.
gonna be that. I'm no longer gonna do that. I myself am a recovering strong black woman. Looking at one.
Kate, Kate, just over in the corner, Dusty. She said, "I'm
No, no,
taking
no.
it off, honey."
I put that thing on the curb so the trash man could get it because I
Okay,
put it on again.
not in
That
my house.
no, that's the biggest, one of the biggest lies ever. That
I
we
love
have to
that
be
you shared
strong.
that.
Yeah, we have to
You
be
as
strong. You know, black women. We don't get to. We don't. We can't cry. We can't be sad. We can't be mad. We just gotta keep doing, doing, doing. No, I don't think so.
Miss Blue Water said, "I haven't started traveling. I'll be a first time traveler. I'm still stuck in the fear mindset, withholding myself and potential because I'm afraid of the new. How can we let go of the uncertain?"
Mm, 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 mm. I think is what we were saying earlier about starting to develop a different mindset about it. You know, seeing it before you see it, seeing, envisioning what you want to be a first time traveler. What do you want to? What is it that in your mind that you would like to see? What's your vision about that? You know, what are all the wonderful things you hope to experience?
Manifest. Hmm.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
So taking your attention and your focus away from the uncertain. So that's the fear, right? It's just like, oh, what if I lose my passport? What if I get in an accident and I have to go to the hospital? What if
Stay present.
COVID happens?
Stay
So
present.
there's presence, but I also think that a helpful exercise is, so the brain is a machine, right? So
Hmm.
if there's an unanswered question, the way the brain is set up, it's just going to keep cycling around. So it's like, okay, girl, well, what if you did? So, like, what if you sat with the fear in that kind of way as well? So, what if you did lose your passport? Okay, well, some people, when they travel, they have lost their passports. If that's one of my fears, I know I'm going to Panama. There's the US Embassy there, and I can
Hmm.
contact the embassy and I could be on my way to getting another passport so that I could, go back home. What if I did wind up in the hospital? Well, actually, a lot of hospitals are way more affordable than in America, where they charge you for breathing air in the lobby. So if I
Hmm.
did end up there, there's this, and there are Facebook groups, and maybe I'll have a contact or two if I needed that. But I believe that I will get the care that I need if did have to go to the hospital.
Hmm.
Like whatever the fear is, you kind of walk yourself through that,
Yeah.
and then put it down. So it's like, okay,
Mhm.
you have an answer to it. Now you can think about the experiences that you want to invite into your life versus being
Mhm.
scared of the ones you don't want in your life, right?
Right. And so having there's nothing wrong with planning, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with planning. Having some people here that if something goes wrong, you could call them. Having a contingency plan,
Yes.
having a copy of your passport, having
And your
all
bank
of your
cards.
things that someone that you trust can you can call them up and they can help you if you get stuck with anything.
People
Yeah.
that back on the mainland, like your home country or whatever, knowing where you're going, knowing where you're staying,
Yeah.
um, in the event that anything happens, you can answer all of those things. Like those are
Mhm,
answerable things. Those are just logistics. So you don't have
mhm,
to get caught up in the logistics.
mhm. But don't
She,
but don't let yourself get to what if, what we call analysis paralysis, right? Are you trying to
mhm.
analyze every possible scenario, right?
Anticipate. Yeah.
You'll get
She
stuck. Just
said,
like you'll get stuck. You will never move. You'll be it because the part of our brain that holds anxiety is in the lower part of our brain, and it has to do with the part of our brain that kept us from getting eaten by lions and tigers and bears, right? So it's one of the first parts of our brain that was developed as we were developing into human beings, and so it's always going to be present because we
trying to keep
always
you
want
safe.
to survive. Great, keep it absolutely. So we always want to survive every experience, but allowing ourselves, it's okay to entertain. Just as you said, it's okay to entertain, but don't get entertainment time box it if you need to. 5 minutes. I'm going to think about this for 5 minutes. I'm going to put it away. Yeah.
Yes, that's great.
Hmm.
She said, yes, it's the what ifs that's been keeping me stuck. Well,
Hmm.
you don't have to
Hmm.
let it do that no more. Miss
Yeah.
Annabella said, stay right there. Everybody comes to you, but when you need help, there's nobody around. We got to get
Hmm.
new people around you, Miss Annabella. And
Yeah.
then Miss Brianna said, I'm a recovering strong Black woman. I'm about to
Yeah.
write this on my mirror. Come on, write it on the mirror. Well, we thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely.
You showed up, you showed out. You
Absolutely.
all can catch up with Miss Roxanne Johnson on IG at ROX0406.
Mhm.
If you are in the state of Maryland and you're looking for an actual therapist, an actual therapist, you could go to psychologytoday.com and you can look her up. Roxanne with one N, Roxane Johnson. Um, Otherwise, hook up with her on IG and she's doing some coaching as well. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for showing up for us today,
Yeah,
for pouring
absolutely.
into our community today.
Thanks for
Um,
having me.
Absolutely. I hope you have a great day, and I hope all of y'all watching take very, very good care of yourselves. And we will see you out
Yes.
there, you know where, in the internet
Mhm.
streets. All right, y'all. Take good care. Holler.
Bye.
Bye.